Hello, hello, hello. Happy last week of April. Big earnings week. PCE figures on Friday. GDP on Thursday. How is everyone doing? Bed Bath & Beyond Bankrupt, finally. Oh, that's been a long drawn out process. So, good morning, Donald. Good morning, PMG. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning to people in the background. So, let's just get started. Let's just get straight into things. Hope everyone had a good weekend. We had the Chicago Fed National Activity Index coming in line with previous, a little better than forecast, but still in contraction. Dallas Fed manufacturing coming out at 9:30. So, hour after the cash open. Pay attention to that one, even though it's regional. See how, if it does bounce. We've had, remember, Philly was a horrible. New York was strong. So, it'll be interesting to see what Dallas does. Hey, Paul. That's really it. Then you got the 3-month and the 6-month auctions. So that's it for that. In terms of the mixed market, Max Coke, we had Coke earnings this morning, and that's up pre-market 1.6%. 1.6%, mixed pretty much across the board. Sort of quiet. Comm services, consumer defensive up, technology, consumer cyclical down. Fed watch 90% for the rate hike next week, the 25 basis points, I should say, rate hike. So this is getting to really just solidly baked in level. Fear and greed, still in greed mode. By the way, the current market valuation, you see we're climbing up again, getting closer and closer. It's overvalued. But if you look at the timeline, I mean, here's how much we were after our last big top, the last major top, COVID top, and we're not far off from that in terms of how overvalued we are. And anywhere in this area is very toppy. You see, even in 2007, we're roughly in line, maybe slightly higher than we were in 2007. So what I'm saying is, again, can stuff keep going? Yeah. But know what's going on and know that we have some downside risk potentially. We're right at 41.56. 41.50 is neutral gamma. We're trading 41.55, 41.56 right now. We're exactly at neutral gamma. So any rallies have dealers selling into it. Any declines takes us into the volatility mode of negative gamma, which can amplify both up and down moves, remember. So please keep that in mind. We're right at neutral right now. Again, we had Coke, which was a gap up, and then not much. Not much after the close. First Republic, Whirlpool. But today's pretty quiet still in earnings. The rest of the week gets earnings heavy. Heavy, 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 heavy. So this is going to be the quiet day. The quiet days. Where do we sit? Good morning, Christoph. Good morning, Anissa. We have the new VIX. What are your thoughts on that? What's going to track the very short-term one-day volatility? I have to see how it's going to be, what the symbol's going to be on this platform. I just have the placeholder, and it starts trading today. What are my thoughts? Well, with all the zero-day expiration options being 40-45% of the options market for the indices right now, I think it's going to be somewhat valuable, but it's going to shift so rapidly. I mean, it's an intraday tool. It's another intraday tool. Okay? So, again, from positioning, longer term, for hedging stuff, using hedges against the core VIX is wonderful still, because I think this being trading right now at 17, technically 1737, 1740. If you're looking for a market downturn at some point, still I consider using that as a good hedge. Remember, we have cycles at the top, and this is on the weekly. When cycles get to the top, And it's starting to try to roll over, but this will be a very definitive week. But you can get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks down before a bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks down before a bottom. You can get a multi-week move. Now, daily so far has held up quite well, with daily cycles getting closer to the bottom, but not yet there. I am paying attention to Friday's high, because we break above it intraday. Friday's high in the S&P futures is 41.61, and then follow through with a close. It's a very aggressive buy signal, and it's a rotation buy signal. Now, why is it aggressive? Because this move is getting overextended, and we have weekly cycles at the top. So it's more of a scalpier nature, which could lead to a 1 or 2 day pop. But more so, I'm focused intraday on Friday's high. So there you go. That's what I'm watching. You can see the bounce. We had the European Open and the bounce. We're trading against the key level, this 41.57. I talked about neutral gamma being 41.55. Into that, it's a little 2 candle clear path, 41.66. That takes us above 41.61. Then you have about 41.71. Then you have 41.81. Those are all the key levels to the upside that I will be watching. To the downside, if we roll over, yes, we do have a clear path. Remember, we had all that back and forth volatility on Friday. But we have this clear path. So this is an area where I would just use, if we have any rollover play, these harmonics, you'll have to update yourself. But I would be watching, again, if we keep going up, you'll have to move this on up. But I would be watching specifically the 50 and the 62 if we do trigger a bigger pullback. Right now, that's between 41.45 and 41.42. If we pull back in the open with the 1 hour cycles at the top and the 4 hours just in the middle. The rotation zones, there's no point on the 4 hour right now. And you see this is Friday's high, and you have the multi-stopping points. Also, for the little longer term, for this week, you can use as long as we don't take out these lows today, the very key area, look at this. We have 41.66. The 50% is 41.66. And that's this little topping area. 41.72 is also the next key area for a rotation on that pop up. So it'll be very interesting. Now, if we close today, if we have a up day or even close tomorrow above 41.74 without taking out this low, we could see a retest of mid-April high area. And that would not invalidate the weekly rollover play yet. So, yeah, I was seeing that there's going to be some other new ones. We'll have to watch. But with 9 day, I mean, it's so much is being done on just the 1 day options that we're just going to have to see how this all plays out. What do I think about the overnight high 41.98? The overnight high. What? Back up. We didn't have 41.90. Hey, afternoon, Charles. The overnight high, I did not have at 41.98. That's all the way up here. That's for maybe you meant the April high. Well, the key area, it would be 41.74 on a closing basis. And then I'd start watching for a retest of the high area. And the high area I'd be using is between about 41.90 to that 41.98. You confuse me with the saying overnight high, but that would be April high. So, and we could easily retest that with another rotation up, making another potential topping pattern with weekly cycles still at the top. The NASDAQ, we still have the potential double top. Again, I will be paying attention to Friday's high, 13,122. And then your major target area is 13,210, 13,200 to 13,210. All right, and this is you see again multiple stopping points, because right here we're against this little prior resistance area, but we popped through there. You don't, that's not a fantastic level, this 13,127 anymore. The next key level is about 13,170, then 13,209. The Dow, all these things are trading in lockstep. Daily cycles at the bottom, Friday's high is still the one to watch at 13,996. So, 33,996, so 34,000. Key support coming in at 33.8. Russell, still using the key levels. Inside day so far on a break. I'm not using this level right now. I am using the 1783 as key support area and 1810 and then 1817 as resistance. Your VIX, still, we looked at it earlier in the 17s. We'll have to see what the symbols are. If somebody knows what the symbol on TradingView is going to be for the 1 day, let me know. DAX, still holding up after coming down and hitting the little mini wedge pattern and rotating back up. Resistance still at 1660 and then 16,147 is the next key area. The notes. We had the %BBY, little pause on Friday, this moving higher. Next target is 115.10. Still major support, 114.04. The 10-2s based off the futures. Still trading just below the key prior support zone. So going to be interesting to see if this does roll over. Dollar index. We did have the breakdown into that 50 to 62.5. Now, if we close below 100.88, then I'm watching for a retest of the Friday, the 14th lows. Other than that, I'm watching for a potential bounce move. We have waning momentum with the rotation zone down. But the key level is that 188 after pulling back to that 50. Crude, trying to put in, I'm watching for. This is a little sloppy, but I will utilize it. 78.39 on at least a 4-hour closing basis. That would put targets at 79.21, 79.64, 80.60, and I'd really focus on these first two targets because of this hitch in here. Where does that take us? It's a little mini bounce on the daily, and you can see if we do the harmonics, the full target takes us just shy of the 50% from this down move. All right, but the key level for the up move to sustain is above 81. So for the crude traders, that's what I'm looking at there. Let's jump over to the spiders and the Qs real quick. The spiders, roughly trading flat with Friday's close. I will be watching again Friday's high, even the spiders, 412.68. Above 412.68. Minor, you can watch about 412.35 on a breakout area, but above 412.68, 413.50. And then there's a gap left behind to 414.21. Those are the major targets to the upside. My first level of key support is coming in about 411.35 and then 410.40 to the downside. The Qs. Again, it would be Friday's high just because of the %BBY potential setups. 317.40. We're trading 316.55. Your level is 317 on the breakout. That just happens to be where it is. Then there isn't much until 319.08. So if you needed intermediate levels, again, this is where I'd use my harmonics, and I'd use in front of that the 318.68 area as a key one on a closing basis. All right, what do we have? We have gold, which triggered this sloppy head and shoulders finally. It was confirmed, but finally triggered on Friday. Watching for more pullback levels, not only because of that, but also because of the higher time frame Elliott wave, watching for a corrective wave to start unfolding. Euro triggered on Friday, first and nearly second targets hit. So again, I'm watching for a retest of this 110.50 area for the final target. Pound still have the potential double top in play, but nothing else really new. Now, if we start closing above 124.71, then then we start to watch for a retest of this high area from back in mid April. The the US dollar, Japanese yen, still watching for 135.32, even though this got close enough for a stop raise from my perspective being in this channel. But still watching for upwards movement there. Bitcoin, let's just check this out now. But we'll be using 27,800 for any up move, not any double. And keep in mind now it's slamming into key resistance at about 28.5. So it's sort of scalpy to the upside. Tesla, again, triggering the massive double on the daily, but not the weekly, but still watching for breakdown, especially below about 160. Keep in mind on a breakdown play, not just for today, because I doubt we'd hit this, but for the next breakdown move, I'd be using a first target with this gap fill of 144.43. To the upside, it really needs to break above 167.75 before I'd watch for at least a partial gap fill. Why a partial gap fill to the upside? Because of where the rotation zone is and the prior major support becoming resistance in the way of that full gap fill first. Good afternoon, Eric. 1-VIX, thank you. So, hold on, let me see here. 1- is that what it's going to be? So I'll have to see once it starts getting listed today. Where do we sit? Mike, on futures chart, don't you should be adjusted? I've been playing with something. It's back on. It was causing too many problems. So on this, I'm just keeping it on back adjusted right now. It was causing too many problems. That's why I switched back. You're welcome, Heinrich. Nas is now struggling to stay higher and has shifted from struggling to get lower. All right. Thank you, Rich. Let's see. You're welcome, PMG. Have a good day. Regarding GC double top. This is not a double top in gold. It's a sloppy head and shoulders. This is not a double top. It's shoulder, flat shoulder, and I'm using this for pullback levels. Also because we have an L, this is a sort of a more of a discretionary one, but no, this is not a double top. It's a really sloppy, lopsided head and shoulders. So yes, you are correct. You are correct, Christoph. It's not. Now, the targets are going to be slightly, very similar anyways, but it does not qualify as a double top. We have critical days for the indices. This week is very critical. Business person. Why? We have some key earnings. Microsoft, Alphabet, Tuesday. Meta, Wednesday. Amazon, Thursday. For the non-techs, you got Visa. You got MasterCard. I mean, you got stuff that people are going to watch like McDonald's. UPS is going to be pretty big. PepsiCo. I got Friday oil earnings. So this is a big week. And as you mentioned, just a week, today being very quiet. But Thursday, we get the GDP numbers, the advanced GDP numbers for first quarter. And then Friday, you have the big PCE numbers. And the final, don't overlook the consumer sentiment number, but more importantly, the inflation expectations, which are forecast to be, remember we had the preliminary, and that was a pretty decent pop. So the final numbers, that's going to be where we sit, but that's going to really show where the consumer's looking in the short term for inflation. But this week is definitely backloaded. All right. All right. Thank you, Christoph. I will check it out. You're welcome. So that's why between earnings and then the Fed hike, which is not this Wednesday, it's next Wednesday. So this PCE is the final data point. That's really important. But the market's going to that 90%. And by the way, for all the people who, it's not going bankrupt, they're not going to bankrupt this thing, there's your Bed Bath & Beyond. And I still wouldn't bother messing with this for trying to capture 20 cents remaining, because you can still get insane stupid. But there's your Bed Bath & Beyond filing, looking to shut down all the stores potentially by June. Could trigger a 30,000 people unemployment. And for all the meme stock players that think this is some big weird, there's going to be some leveraged buyout on this, that, the other thing, you know, 420 was last week. It's time to put down the pipe, because they're filed for bankruptcy, and equity will probably get wiped out fully. So there are the thoughts on that. You're welcome, Nisa. I will be back after. No, not buy the dip. Coco, is that what you came in here for, to say buy the dip on BBBY, since the equity will most likely get wiped out? Now, would I be shorting it for 20 cents? No. No. But, you know what? You play with fire, you can get burned. All right, that's where we sit. Everyone have a fantastic rest of the day, and I will see everyone after the close. Bye for now.